Hello and welcome to Tim's BMW Repairs and Information. Well, I've had my yearly inspection, it's MOT, passed flying colours, no advisories, and that reminds me it's time for a service. And I expect some of you will be saying, well, my iDrive says I've got 12,000 miles till my next oil service. Well, I don't believe it. No, the car's got to be serviced, oil service, every year or every 10,000 miles, whichever comes first. Leave it any longer than that and the oil in the engine will start to evaporate its volatile components, and when it does that, things start to fail, so it lose some of the properties that keep the oil ways clear. Got tiny little oil ways in these cars for the Vanos and the Valvetronic and all sorts of things like that, and the chain tensioner, which is one of them, which usually gets blocked up, seizes up, and then your chain guys get bashed to bits. So yep, every year or every 10,000 miles, whichever comes first, it's time to do an oil service. Right, not only will we be doing an oil service, we'll be changing the oil obviously and the oil filter. We'll also change the engine air filter, windscreen wipers and the cabin filter. Now, a word of warning with the cabin filter, unless you've got no airflow in your cabin, just completely ignore that section because it is a killer to do. It's right in the passenger's footwell, right above a panel. You have to be upside down on the seat to work out even where it is. And when you've worked out where it is, you've got to get the blooming filter out, and you get covered with bees and flies and leaves and all sorts. And then you struggle for ages trying to get the new one in, struggle for even longer trying to put the little cover on. But we will go through it. Anyway, yeah, most important, oil service. Now with the oil service, we're going to start under the car, of course, and to get under the car, we're going to put it up on ramps. So this is the way most people will do it at home. So no lift or anything like that. Yeah, it's a lot easier with a lift. I certainly agree with that, but it can be done on ramps quite successfully. Got to be using the right ramps. For ramps, I'm using Rhino ramps, but I've added a wooden extension. Front's a bit low. I think I'll probably be all right with these. With the Z4, certainly with the E31, it just doesn't go up those ramps without hitting the nose. So yeah, extension to that. Good solid ramps, that's what you need. You don't want to be squashed by things underneath the car. Once you have got the car up on ramps, handbrake on or e-brake on and stick a brick underneath the back of the wheel, stop it sliding down. Right, well, we're upside down underneath the Z4 and there's that hole there, well, that panel there, that's to get to the drain plug. Mine appears to be non-OEM, if you ask me, because it's got a Phillips screw on it. It still works, but I think it's time for a new one. It gets to a certain point and it should stop, which is there, and off it comes. So it's got a sliding doofer at the back there, a sort of arc. Right, the drain plug, 17mm, points towards the side, so I can see this going well. It's a distance from the rest of the trim here, so that's good. But there's the drain plug there. You can see as much as I can. There we go. He's loose. Very good. We'll have to replace the copper washer on that. Right, we'll leave that to do that while we go up the other end and get the filter out. For removing the oil filter, you can either use the special tool, which is S40S80, fits over there, 3/8 inch drive by the look of that. Or you can use a strap wrench, it doesn't matter which. Use a strap wrench to get them undone. These are cheap as muck as well, get them from Amazon. And so all you need is a bit of purchase on them. And there you go, it starts to go. These things should never be done uptight. There's absolutely no point in doing them uptight. They're not coming undone, I tell you that for nothing. But when you get to a point where you can hand turn it, get your cloth ready. Cloth ready and a bag to put the filter in. Otherwise you're going to be dripping everywhere. Cloth, bag. Now these are designed so that the oil drains back into the sump as you undo them. Now, as I found out to my expense with my 840, sometimes it just doesn't do it, and you get to this point and just oil pours out everywhere. This is what happens when the filter doesn't come out with a lid. It gets stuck at the bottom and you have to sort of rotate it around and then pull it, and the oil will start draining away. It's pretty horrible when that happens because the oil does go everywhere, and that's why you need the cloth. This one looks like it's going to behave though. Dear little filter in there, isn't it? A tiny little thing. Yeah, it's all draining away nicely as it should. So what we'll do is we'll just leave it there, just to drain away while we get the replacement filter. Rightio, well that'll do for oil dripping out, I think. It's enough of that. Get the filter out. Plop that down there. Bung him in the bag. There we go. It's about time to be changed, I think, that one. It's starting to look a bit furry. Right, I'm using HU816 MANN filter. In the kit, you get a large O-ring, which needs to be covered with engine oil before we fit it, and the copper washer. Right, yeah, these should be covered with engine oil, so new filter in, clicks into place, ready to go back in. So nice oil thing. I'll put a bit more oil on so I get a bit more oil out of the sump. And we're doing back up again. That's about it, I think. Just tighten that up a bit. There we go. Good tight hold on him. And that's it, that's all it needs. It's not going to come undone, so don't try and tighten them up too much. Here we are again then, underneath the car. Yeah, it's 67. I think I'm getting a bit too old for this. Well, there you go. Right, drain plug. Off with the old copper washer. Over it goes. New copper washer on, very important. They don't seal twice. Let's get a bit of a throw on it. Right, don't need to be tightened up much, because all you do is strip the pan, and that's no good. No fun at all, that isn't. There we go. That's it, yeah, and even redder in the face now. So I need to fit on the special cover. There it is. Now, I would have thought this would have a 10mm drive on it, to be honest. There you go. Mine's got a Phillips screw in it for some reason. Yeah, absolutely no idea why. Well, I have got a good idea why. Because it snapped at some point. Now they've replaced it, so I'm going to buy a new one. But I want a cover on it for now, so this will have to do. And it's been on there for a few years, so then you just have to rotate the archy thing by 180 degrees. And there you go. That's on. That's all we got to do from underneath, and thank goodness for that, yeah. Up the top again. Time for new oil. Big funnel, is that going to fit? Yeah, perfect. Well, as perfect as it gets, really. There you go, he's in nicely. And we're using Castrol Edge 5W40. That's 6 litres, which is a bit of a nuisance because the Mini takes 4 litres. The 840 takes 8 litres, which usually means 1 or 2 bottles of the stuff. But yeah, I'm going to have to measure something now. Right. Have the exit from the bottle at the top so you don't get all the glugging that you normally get. Seems counterintuitive, but it lets the air in. Do it the other way up, it just go, we'll start just splurging like that. Chucks the oil everywhere. And we'll decant the old oil back into this. Okie dokes, we're going to have to use the guide on the side. So we need to get it to the 2 litre point. That should be about it. Yeah, that'll do. And it's disturbingly the BMW ends up facing this way or that way, which is a bit of a nuisance. Right, so we're okay. New oil filter, lids on, sump plugs in, covers on. Once you're happy you've got 6 litres of oil in the car, go to start the engine, vehicle information, vehicle status, 2 down, and that's the oil level. Now, it will take a few seconds for the oil level to be measured. So don't panic if it looks like it's completely empty. And there we go, full of oil right up to the max. Right, next thing we'll do is get the filter cover off. There's the air filter housing there. Now this bit can theoretically just pop off of there like that. And a flat bladed screwdriver, there's 1, 2 clips down this side. Two here. And I believe that's it. Get that. Do you want that off? Not sure. So this is going to slide up. And there's the old filter, and that doesn't look like it's been in there more than a few months, if you ask me. I mean, it's got a few leads, but look at that. This car's been serviced just before I had it. The replacement is Bosch S0149. That's just what we need for that. So we've got the housing we've just removed. Plop him on like that. Give him a good squish into position. There we go. You can see this is a claw that's going to go into the bit at the bottom. So well, there we go, and we're in position already. Just when you think it's not going to work, all of a sudden it all just drops into position. Right, let's get them squashed in before we try and do those up. There we go. That's him up. Gasket's got to have a good old squeeze. There we go. There we go. All of those back up. Slot him into there. That's the bottom in. The top's got a clip in and the bottom's got a clip in all at the same time. That's him. Make sure he's still clipped together. She is. And there we go, that's the oil filter, air filter, new oil done. So the next thing we're going to do, wiper rubbers and the cabin microfilter. Let's get on with that then. Right, to do the windscreen wipers, we first need to put them into the service position. So to do that, wipers on, then when it gets to the top, which it will get, they'll do it again in a minute, press the key in. There you go, and it will stop the wiper blade just there. That's perfect. Right, for the replacement wipers, we'll be using BMW, can we see, yes, yeah, 616 121 51749. One at 22 inches, the other one at 20 inches. That's the plan with these. First thing to do when working on wipers, put a cloth behind it. Now, with the windscreen wipers right over this side, we can get the cloth underneath both wipers. So to remove the old wiper, lift the whole thing up. Righty-ho, hopefully you can see everything there. Now there's different versions of this clasp here. My original ones had 2 little doofers up here, and what you could do is just push them in and then that would release the wiper from the wiper arm. But on this one you've got 2 little tangs. But all we have to do with this is push in that little bit there, push the wiper down, Once you got to that point, it will start hitting the rubber. So turn it in that direction, it will slide off. And always the best plan with this is to have the new wiper beside you in exactly the same position. So this is facing down, the air scoop's facing away from you, and so on. So that's how they come off. Get the new one, put it on in exactly the same way the other one came off. Rotate it round so we're not damaging anything. Push this up into position. When we get to about there, turn it back round again and feel it click into position. Push it down and make sure that it's fully connected. That one is. Lovely. Now that replacement wiper has the air scoop on it, and this is the 22-inch one, whereas the other one is 20. Not sure if it's any different in the USA. You wouldn't have thought they'd swap the complete wiper positions, but I don't know. And the one on the other side is exactly the same, and with the wipers in this position we can get to that just as easily. Put him up there. So yeah, this one's exactly the same. I push down there, push the wiper down, get to there to avoid damaging the rubber and everything. There we go. See, not so much a worry on the old one, but there we go, he's off. New one in, right beside that. Start rotating things around, we don't want to damage the new one. Push him up. Make sure he's fitted into position. That's it. And strange thing was on my car, the one I just took off, because what I'm doing now is just repeating the exercise for you, but the one I actually took off was an 18-inch and it was much too short and I hadn't really noticed it. Oh yeah, that one's really short, isn't it? That's obviously the wrong one on it. It's just miles too short. That's the right size one at 20 though. Right, that's done. Now, if you really, really, really want to do the cabin air filter, I'll show you how it's done. Now, this is a UK car, so right-hand drive, and the cabin air filter is on the left-hand side. In the USA and other left-hand drive areas, I think it's on the right-hand side, but they're both located in similar positions. Now, this one on the left-hand side is above the kick panel, so there's a panel up here which is held on by 3 screws, torque screws they are, so 3 of them up here, and then the panel will pull down. It's held on at the back with the panel itself has got little sticky out bits that go into 2 apertures right at the back, or sort of right at the front next to the firewall. And it's a bit of a fiddle getting that cover off, I must admit, especially when you do it without damaging your leather or pleather, whatever it is on the center console here, because that's where it comes out, just pulls down and then you've got to move it backwards until it disconnects. Now, the only thing that stops you doing that is the courtesy light, which is in that panel. Simple connector that just pulls out of the courtesy light, and then you get the panel completely out. Yeah, I've got the manual for this car, the workshop manual. It says right hand side, remove the kick panel. Yep, I removed the kick panel on the right hand side, and it's got a speaker on it, it's got the interior light and something else on it which I can't remember. So wires everywhere, disconnect all the wires, pulled it down, nothing there. So I thought, oh, I'll have a look on the left hand side just in case, and there it is. So I've removed the panel and I'll show you putting it back on again so you know what I'm going on about. And then up here, right in the bowels of everything, try and zoom out a bit. Not the easiest of things to record. There's this sort of black thing here. It's got a clip there, push that backwards, and then the cover starts coming off. Okay, so I've got one hand free. Oh, blimey, came out rather quicker than I expected. So there we go. What I do is I take this out of the car and we can have a look at it so you can get an idea. But here's the filter and about 1 billion bees and all sorts of detritus. Yeah, it's making an awful mess, isn't it? Yeah, there we go. So I pulled it like a magician out of this here. It's just full of leaves, isn't it? It's a complete mess. And yeah, the only way I found, you need 2 hands to do this, by the way. The only way I found to get the thing out was to be upside down in here. So my legs were sticking out, but my arms were going, so I was working on it like that. The filter goes upwards and it's stopped from coming out by a plastic cover, and I'll show you the plastic cover. So there we go, there's the filter, and this is the cover that held it in. So it looks like it's got a couple of clips there. Yeah, not much to them. That's if they're complete. And then a couple of clips here. And a clip at the end, and that's your lot, and foam rubber all around it. And that, to get it out, I believe you move it to the left and then it drops down, and then the filter will drop down or start dropping down, and so will a lot of flies and bees and leaves and all sorts of stuff. And if you just hoovered your car, well, yeah, I'm afraid you've got to start again. And once that's out, once you've pulled it out, it's a terrible thing, just sort of concertina's out. Then you've got to get a new one in by concertining it in. So this is the replacement. It's another Bosch R2368. And then you need both hands to hold on to that plastic cover as you pushed it back in and slide it to the right. Rightio, well, I've taken the filter out again and I've worked out how this all works. So there's the housing that we're looking at there. Can't zoom out anymore because the torch won't work. So there's the housing, and it's got slots in it. So the way the cover goes on is it gets pushed on, then it slides to the right. So yeah, I had to get the doofer back out. Yeah, it's a pain in the bum getting it in the first place. Had to go around the bump in the centre of the console, like that. Then up we go, ease up. Right, cover next. Yeah, this is no fun at all. So cover, the L-shaped part of it's to your left. It pushes up both ends and then slides to the right, which is impossible to do. That, and I'll have to plop you down. I don't know if you saw any of that, but the plan is this goes into the slots. There's one there, one there, one at the other end, and then you push it to the right and it will lock into position. The kick panel back in, which is pretty hard work as well. The worrying thing, of course, is scratching something. You don't want to scratch this part of the console. I seem to have managed to do it without scratching it. Right, after all that fun, we've got to put the cover back in. Looks like I've got to hoover again. Here's the cover. Only got one connection to it, which is the interior light. Right, interior light connection in. Right, off we go again. Pushing it forward, sliding it backwards without scratching the leather. Right, that's in at the, that's it. That's in at the back. Yeah, so the one at the right hand side didn't have any of these locating lugs. That they'd obviously been both pulled off at some other point. There we go. I can understand why, because it's just such a pig awkward job. It's in there. That's it, he's back in again. That's it. And then 3 T10s. Start with the middle one, I think. There we go. I'm not sure what you saw about that. The knees are killing me now. Let's have a quick look. There we go, it's in at the back. They go into apertures at the back. Then we've got 3 screws. One there, and one there. And there we go then. Yep, I'm always happy when I've done an oil service. Got it out of the way. I did the Mini before this one. That was quite a lot of work. And I've got the 840 to do next, so I look forward to that. Bit easier on the 840, apart from the oil goes everywhere. Anyway, yep, oil service, not too bad at all, apart from getting underneath the car, of course. And of course, removing the oil afterwards, got to take it to a recycling centre. So you got to decant the stuff back into the bottles that it came from. Bit of a job when you've got 2 litres left in one of them, but a bit of swapping around between cans, yeah, no problem at all. Wiper blades done, yep, and the engine air filter done. And yeah, blimmin' cabin filter, yeah, it's a terrible job. Anyway, put the thumbs up if you enjoyed that. Keep commenting, yep, I'm way behind again. Please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.